Oh, thank you, Michael, and it's great to be back here at Richmond as we are getting ready for qualifying. 48 cars, I believe. Yeah, 5 are going to be going home as 43 will make the field. Our coverage on ABC, 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night. But right now, let's get to the business at hand as far as setting the field. Let's check back to what it looked like back in happy hour, and it was Carl Edwards doing very well.
Yeah, Paul Menard there, his teammate, doing well. So is Greg Biffle. Jack Rouse's cars look pretty strong.
Yeah, sure do. Carl was almost a 10th of a second faster, which is a lot in short track time.
Well, we talk about how important qualifying is here. I mean, we'll give you the numbers a little bit later, but really, if you don't start in the top 10 here, your chances, based on the numbers over the course of time, have been slim to none.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more difficult. But what that shows is you have speed in your race car, first and foremost. Then you get a good pit selection, Andy. I think that means a lot to these pit crews.
Well, the pit, it's going to be decided. A lot of positions will be decided on pit road, and those pit picks are going to be very important. That's why they're going to really go all out for qualifying. But, you know, this racetrack is pretty straightforward. It's easy to pass on. Well, you say that because you've got all the grooves, but it's still a difficult racetrack to complete passes. So starting up front really is an advantage here.
It can happen. Clint Bowyer, the man we showed you just before we came back here from NASCAR Now, he started the deepest in this field under this configuration on the 3/4 mile track behind us. It was 31st. So.
Yeah, and I think the draw is going to have a lot to do with who qualifies up front. The track is cooling down. We're getting the sun now. It's starting to go down. You're starting to see a little cooling effect on the track. So I think the late draws are going to have an advantage tonight.
Yeah, we've got a couple of fast cars up front, Kirk Busch and Juan Pablo Montoya, that probably are going to be at a disadvantage for some of those guys that got a later draw.
Well, let's bring in Jamie Little and find out what's happening down on pit road.
Well, Marty, you guys kind of touched on it. One of the bigger stories of the final practice was the Ford power. 4 of the top 5 were Fords, and Carl Edwards, as you mentioned, was fastest. Now, the thing about Carl, he has been riding a wave of momentum the last couple of months. He may not have a win, but he has a lot of top 10s, including a 2nd place last week. Now, keep in mind, in the Cup Series here at Richmond, Carl's very good, but he's never won, and he's never had a pole. So he has one of those later draws. He's looking to put it on the pole for the first time in the Cup car. Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Well, Kyle Busch started from the pole when he won here in May, but in today's final practice, when most teams were focused on qualifying, Kyle was just 36th on the speed chart. Now, he did make a few qualifying runs during that final practice, but he ended that session in race trim, giving you an indication that they're more focused on having a good race car than worried about what kind of car they're going to have in qualifying. The man who's won 2 of the last 3 here in Richmond knows what it takes to win regardless of where he qualifies, and he is one of those guys that has a late qualifying draw. He'll go out 30th, so that should be beneficial as the track starts to cool. Marty?
And we mentioned the number of races that have been held in this configuration, a total of 44, and we talked about how important it is to be in the top 10. 32 times out of those 44, the winner has come from the top 10 starting position. Stay with us when we come back. We'll get it started. Well, let's talk about what's coming up on the calendar. NASCAR Nationwide Series action, our race tonight, 7 Eastern with the countdown, and we'll be on ESPN2. Sprint Cup qualifying as we are getting ready for that right now. And then our Sprint Cup Series race tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. And then NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, over on ESPN2. All right, we're waiting for the first car to roll out, which will be Kurt Busch. And already you can see the shadows lengthening, and you can tell that the guys are still waiting to get the command. In fact, if we look down into turn 3 and 4, the shade is starting to come over the racetrack. How much will that affect it there, crew chief?
Well, it's going to affect it a lot. It's going to give it a lot more grip as soon as you see all that shade come down in the groove. You can see the groove has still got sunlight on it. I don't think Kurt Busch is trying to push the issue to get things going here. He'd like to see that cool off just a little bit before he goes.
Did you notice how much change? I mean, when the sun did affect, could you tell the difference between both ends of the racetrack, Dale?
Just like that, you were able to put a couple more tires on it or something like that. It's amazing how much this racetrack does change. The one good thing is it hasn't been an extremely hot day, even though the sun has been out all day. It hasn't been like the track temperature has been that much. But any cooling of this track and any shade that you start getting on it really feels like that you've really added a lot of grip to your car, and you can just let the car go that much harder. And you have to hustle the car around here. We'll see the driver's hands, especially out of turn 2 and out of turn 4, really working the steering wheel a lot to get all the speed they can.
Juan Pablo Montoya climbing behind the wheel. He will be second out, right behind that man, Kurt Busch.
One thing to pay attention to here is it's very easy as a driver to overdrive getting into the corners here, and we'll probably see some drivers lock up the front tires a little bit, slide, especially that left front. We'll see some smoke come out of there, just trying to get a little bit extra. And the one thing that you have to understand as a driver is that you're going to go faster here, and this probably applies going out of turn 2 down the back straightaway into turn 3. As you gain that grip and you go a little bit faster and then you try to get a little bit more, you're already carrying more speed. So that's where more times than not we'll see drivers get in a little bit too hot and wash up the racetrack in the middle of 3 and 4.
Well, one of those drivers with an early draw will be going out 5th. That's Casey Kane. He's with Jamie Little.
Casey just kind of taking it in down here, nice and comfortable. The weather's actually nice, but you did get an early draw, Casey. What does that mean for your chances?
I think it should be all right. It seems like recently everybody that's went out early has qualified just fine. So hopefully it'll be the same today. We felt pretty good with our Budweiser Ford in practice, race trim, and then also in qualifying. I thought hopefully we have a shot today, depending on if you make a perfect lap or not. I haven't hit one right yet, so we'll see if I can do it.
What is a perfect lap for you around here?
Well, this corner here, 1 and 2, I think 3 and 4 is easier for me. 1 and 2, where your entry is, kind of, that's where you exit, is off your entry. And if you miss it a little bit, you can get your left sides over the inside, or you can miss it and get out and be a little tight off. So it's a real fine line. If you hit it right, it's usually pretty good lap.
Got to hit your marks perfect. 1 lap counts here in qualifying. Casey Kane will roll out 5th. Marty?
What about you, DJ? Did you have one side of this track that was better for you than the other?
I agree with Casey. It was always more difficult. I think that entry into turn 1 does so much to determine what you're going to do. And there's a number of ways. We're going to see guys that really stay out wide. We're going to watch, matter of fact, the second guy out, Montoya, really stays wide on his entry into turn 1. And that is great but a lot of these times you get that car free and it's hard to make it do that. Other guys we're going to see drive straighter in and try to stay around and make that bottom help them turn the car.
Well, it's interesting to me. I hear all the drivers talk about it, and I even hear you kind of saying that both ends of the track are different and they drive different, but they are. This track is totally symmetrical. I mean, the turns are designed exactly the same. The radius of turn 3 is the same as the radius off turn 2, but the difference is when you drive into turn 1, that radius is increasing as you come off. And going into turn 3, it's actually decreasing off turn 4, so it makes it drive way different.
I think you'd get an argument from all 48 drivers and me, so count 49 of us, that this thing is not the same on each end. But I understand what you're saying, but it does drive totally different.
Kurt Busch out on track. 6 top 10 finishes here, 4 of those coming in the last 7 races.
Well, Kurt made good finish last weekend in Atlanta, last Sunday night. They were struggling at the beginning of that race and came back, and those are the kind of things that you have to do, especially when you get into the chase. And so that makes me think that this is a championship caliber race team.
Yeah, there was a point where as he turns his first lap at 21.4, remember you came on, he was our in-race report, he goes, oh, you finally remembered I'm out here.
Well, they certainly struggled.
Didn't want to talk to us when we were lap down, but once he got up front, we wanted to talk to him.
We can already see how the times have picked up.
I mean, big time.
About 2.5 tenths from about a tenth and a half, I'm sorry, from what Carl Edwards ran the fastest lap in the last practice session.
Identical lap 1 and 2.
Look at that.
Wide open.
That's what your dad used to say, didn't he?
I mean, it's identical to the 3rd digit.
He had it wide open the first lap.
Really thought we'd see him pick up a little bit, but
he didn't slow down.
No, he didn't slow
sir.
down. That's right.
No, sir. He may be the only one of the day that can say both laps were good.
That's all she's got, boys.
That's it. So we've had our first qualifier go out with Kurt Busch. Out of the 48 that are here, as we mentioned, 5 are going to go home. Here comes Juan Pablo Montoya, and a chance to see this line going down into 1.
Yeah, we'll see and be able to compare. See, he really stays out wide, get himself carried speed through the center of the corner, and then he can drive straighter off, because it's a very difficult exit of this corner.
Yeah, he still put that left front tire on the yellow line, but it was a lot farther around the corner when he did that.
Obviously, we lost our GPS signal, and so our lap tracker will not be able, but we can tell you 21.6. That's about 0.2 off of Kurt's time. Back in the spring race, Juan Pablo finished 6th after starting 19th.
There's that tire lockup you were talking about, Dale.
I was glad at least it looked like I know what I'm talking about. Something, but that's just what you carried. It looked like he carried more speed off.
He did. How about that lap?
Wow.
Man.
Well, picked up 0.5 of a second, actually 4.20 to be exact. He moves into 21.18 seconds and takes over the #1 spot. So Juan Pablo with top 10 starts in 10 of the last 12 Cup races. Takes care of business right here. And now all of a sudden, here comes Joey Logano. He'll be followed by Landon Castle.
That was a great lap. I'm telling you, Montoya put up there. It's definitely faster than the May qualifying session. 21:24 is what the pole was in May. Track record 20.77. That might, well, I don't know if anybody can get near that, but
yeah. I think it shows how much these guys have learned, even from May, about these race cars to come here and be able to go faster again.
Well, Joey trying to forget about last week's 27th place finish at Atlanta. Right now he's tracking pretty good, but it's not good enough to be on point. It's second quick right now of the 3, 21.26 seconds.
Certainly a good first lap right there. We expect somewhere around a tenth and a half pickup on the second laps, I would say.
Well, yeah, we saw that nationwide qualifying. The cars picking up, most of them picking up on that second lap around a 10th or 2. Don't know if we'll see that here with the Cup cars being a little different. You know, it seems like they can go out there and get a little more on that first lap.
Well, they have the horsepower, and he actually slows down a 10th on his second lap.
But he'll stay in that #2 slot at least for now, and that'll mean we'll step aside for a quick break and be right back here at Richmond. 3 cars down, 48 are here. There is Landon Castle in a very brightly colored paint scheme. And let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Marty, it's very rare that we have a first-timer in the field. Matthias Ekstrom has been in the 83 car one time. That was a road course. He's never raced on an oval. So you're getting ready to go out here. I know you guys did one mock qualifying run. What do you expect here, Matthias?
Yeah, I mean, it's sure, it's way more difficult to do the short run and the qualifying runs than the one with the used tires for me because I have so little experience. I will go out and I could see from the analysis we did from the practice that I should be able to go below the 0. So something 80, 90 is possible. So then we'll see what we get out of it.
All right, he's ready to go for it. I know his teammate Scott Speed's been here with him, helping him out and coaching him along. Let's go over to Vince.
Juan Pablo Montoya faster than the pole speed here in May. Currently the fastest here in for this early.
Too early. You know, the starting shape has been really good. I've been complaining a lot about the car all day today, but it has plenty of speed. You know, everybody, you know, the Chip Ganassi team keeps doing an amazing job, and you know, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna hold on to anything good, but you know, if you get a top 10 star being second car out, it would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, well done. Thanks, Juan. Marty?
As Juan Pablo and you finish up, Vince, Landon Castle, you saw kind of the troubles he was having. 21.46 seconds was his best lap, the first lap, and it puts him 4th out of the 4 cars that have taken times.
Yeah, it looked like he just tried to get a little bit more on that second lap. Knew he had a reasonably solid first lap, so he was trying to get more in that second lap and drove it down into turn 1 a little too hard, and the car wouldn't stick.
Here's a car that was in the top 5 in happy hour, so we'll see what the track has got in it here. And so we saw Juan Pablo Montoya. He was 4th in happy hour and was able to put down that big number there, 21.18. Let's see if Casey Kane can challenge him.
Well, they made it through turn 1 and 2, which he said was his trouble spot.
Yeah, and a little different there. You see Casey not on the brake very long on either end, which is good. Although he slipped a little bit there in 3 in comparison to what Montoya was.
3rd quick right now on that first lap. Let's see what he does on lap 2. Started on pole in this race back in 05 and went on to win it, leading 242 laps. And this is a good one. It's close.
He's right there, but I think what we're going to see is Montoya made really good. Even though he locked up the brakes down in 3 and 4, he still got through there really well.
21.29 seconds, and that's going to leave him in that number 3 spot.
You see just how consistent the temperature has been all day. The track temperature is only varied just a few degrees, and it's very, very pleasant outside. It's in the 70s. But I expect that 104 track temp to come down even more as we go, and especially you see turns 3 and 4 starting to see some shade.
Well, let's talk to the man who right now is in the number 4 slot, Kurt Busch. He's with Vince Welch.
He's Dodge's hope for a championship here as we get ready to go to the chase next week. A lot been talked about up in the booth about track temperature, the sun, how it's going to maybe get better as qualifying order dips through. What are your thoughts on your run early?
You said, but yeah, I went out first. I underestimated the track's grip level. We're going to probably end up 35th with that run, but you know, we're locked into the chase. We'll work on what we have to setup-wise to get her back to the front tomorrow night. But yeah, I've never really gone out first, if I can remember right, and I didn't know what target to shoot for. We were running in the 70s earlier today, didn't change anything, and just ran a 40. So I definitely underestimated the track's grip level.
Yeah, he might start toward the back, but he's a good short track racer, Marty.
Right now, Matt Kenseth on his second lap, doing better than he did on the first.
Yeah, he needs to. Matt has no top 10 finishes here in his last 6 races, so they would like to get a little momentum started before they head to Loudon next week in the chase.
Brings it across the line, 21.34 seconds. That'll slot him in the number 4 spot, bumps Kurt Busch down to number 5. So Matt, who won this race back in '02 after starting 25th, and of course he drives for that man right there, Jack Roush.
See Jack back at the track every week now after his mishap with his airplane a few weeks back. His cars are running good too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that's good medicine for him to be able to come to the track and watch these guys like Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards. Matt's program's coming around too, and David Reagan's showing a little promise.
Well, we were talking during NASCAR Now while we were getting ready for this, and you were talking about how all of a sudden the Fords are back in the mix.
Yeah, early on, I mean, it looked like they might be in the chase, but weren't really going to be a factor. And even though Biffle is the only one of those with the win right now, we've seen Carl Edwards be really good recently. And I just think the whole program is stepping up and at the right time for sure.
Scott Speed, he qualified second at Phoenix, which is a track very similar to this. So sure, he's got high expectations, for at least for qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying hadn't been his problem here. He's 8th, 20th, and 12th in his 3 times, but trying to finish, he hasn't finished better than 33rd yet.
Well, and of course, a lot of speculation on where Scott's going to be, whether or not he'll be back with this team. And he's had 2 DNFs, one at Atlanta last time out, and then the other one was at Watkins Glen just 4 races ago with engine problems. And here he is coming across the stripe for the end of the second lap, 21.48 seconds. It leaves him 7th out of 7 cars. Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, at the top of the show, we talked about 4 Fords being in the top 5 in final practice, and that was after mock qualifying runs. Greg, so you're watching the action here. What do you think it's going to take to get up on that pole?
Well, I tell you what, Juan Toya ran a heck of a lap, and you know, we're going to have to pick up some speed. I just don't know how much we're going to pick up. It seems unrealistic when you stand here and watch it, but we know it picks up 4 or 5 tenths, you know, just by it cooling down on the track, having more grip. So we just hope 3 and Ford Fusion picks up some speed.
All right, Jack Roush up here. Been looking pretty happy today, Vince.
Casey Kane currently 3rd on the speed chart, checking some figures there in the car. How much better was it than what you had in practice?
It was a lot better. I actually thought it was really good. I was thinking he was going to say as faster than we were, but you know, I don't know where that'll stack up because it felt good. Sometimes that's not good. But I got to the throttle quick. I drove in harder. I did everything that you're supposed to do. Budweiser Ford, so we'll see where it ends up. Hopefully a top 10.
Yeah, Fords have been good today. Nice run from Casey. Marty?
As you finish up, Vince, Sam Horner's got a lot of work to do on lap number 2. 21.6 isn't going to get it done.
I saw him even clip the apron getting off of turn 2. You'll see him do that sometimes during the race, but I don't think that's a good thing to do in qualifying.
You can see really struggling there in 3. It's going to hurt his exit time there, so not going to be the qualifying effort he was looking for. Picks up just a little bit.
21.5, and out of 8 cars that have taken times, he is in that 8th position. So not a good run for the 77 of Sam Hornish Jr.
That's still 3/10 faster than in practice. You'd think that it would be stack up better than that. But the track level, the grip level, is just like Kurt Busch said, has come up so much that some of these drivers are actually underestimating how much the track has in it.
Boy, being like first out like Kurt was, you have no idea because you have nothing to judge off of. Yeah, he saw nationwide qualifying and saw they were picking up, but you know, he wasn't sure exactly what to expect from that. He would have been able to see Montoya go out there and run the 18. He could have probably been a little more aggressive, and that's just part of the draw.
Coming out now, Ryan Newman. He won this race back in September of '03. And if I told you it was his only short track victory in 52 short track races, what would you say?
Well, I know technically we'd say that, but he'd probably tell you that Phoenix is a short track, even though it's a mile long. But that is surprising, though, I would have to say.
I mean, yeah, coming from his background, his sprints and midgets,
sure.
you would think he'd have more wins than that in his career. But there he is on lap number 1, currently slotted 7th.
I think we've really seen this team of Tony Stewart's really on an upswing since probably late spring, early part of the summer. Both of these cars, it looks like it's going to be a little too late for Ryan as far as getting in the chase, but Tony's going to be solid in there.
21.42 moves him into the number 6 spot. We should give him some credit, though. He has had 6 poles out of the 46 in his career that were on the short track. Won't be on pole today, but what about Brad Keselowski? Could he surprise everybody? Or Jamie McMurray? Stay with us. They're next. Back here at Richmond International Raceway, and in the 83 this week, 32-year-old Matthias Ekström from Falun, Sweden. If you heard his interview a little while ago, he's the first competitor in Cup from Scandinavia.
Yeah, I already talked about down there with his engineers and team members, and they were talking about looking at all the simulations, saying that they should run like a 90 or 80 or 90. I guess he's going to let them talk him into it. You know, it shows the simulation shows that the car has it in it. A lot of teams rely on that. I'm not sure if he was talking about 2180 or 2080. But he did run a 21.88 first lap.
What are you noticing in his driving right now?
Well, I think it's just a matter of getting used to these cars on an oval track, which he doesn't have much experience at either one. But, you know, doing a pretty nice job. I know they've had him at some other short tracks running, but, boy, do you get here, get on the tire that you're racing on here and see this racetrack for the first time. There are just so many things that experience pays off. But, you know, pretty nice lap.
10th out of 10 cars that have gone. He is a good driver, though. Think about this. 3-time European International Race of Champions winner. Beat Michael Schumacher in those twice. And Schumacher only has 7 Formula One world titles, so I guess he can drive. Give him the right car, give him some time. Who knows? Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Denny Hamlin's down here. He's in a Z-Line fire suit, ready for the nationwide race coming up next. It's a long day here, Denny, but you guys made some progress in practice. I heard you say you got me to center, man. How important is that for this hot lap now?
I told them they got me my space shuttle back. I've always driven space shuttles around here, you know, we were pretty confident that our car was pretty good. Right at the end of final practice, we decided to keep it in race trim instead of going to the qualifying trim. We felt like it was the most important to try to win the race, not win the pole today. So we're pretty confident with our FedEx Toyota. We just got to see where we end up, hopefully somewhere in the top 15 for qualifying.
All right, happy with the race car. Not sure what they have for qualifying, Marty.
Well, we'll find out, but right now, Brad Keselowski's letting us know. 21.27 on the first laps, 3rd quick. He started in the top 10 in both of his prior Richmond races, 9th last September and 6th this May.
Looks like that first lap's going to be his quickest unless he can pull something off here. It doesn't look like it, but that's a great lap for Keselowski.
Drops off to a 21.4 on the 2nd lap, but right now slotted in that number 3 spot. And we'll find out how well that holds up, because remember, we have 48 drivers for 43 spots. Jamie McMurray next to go out here at the 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway.
Watch Jamie through practice. Didn't look like that he was having a tremendous amount of fun in trying to get some more speed out of his race car. It just looked like he was struggling quite a bit.
26th on the speed charts. Not what they were looking for, obviously. There you see the shade now pretty much touching that yellow line right in the middle of his turns 3 and 4. Whoa. I think that might be our tracker.
Yeah,
there we go. He's back.
It always makes it difficult when you know your car wasn't all that good and you see these other drivers picking up so much time, so you know that there's some more speed out there, but just how much do you go after and try to get?
21.68 seconds. That's 11th out of the 12 drivers that have taken times.
A couple tenths faster than his practice speed, but still not stacking up with the other 12 drivers that have gone too well. So Jamie's still struggling just a little bit.
And you notice we had a little GPS tracking problem, so we'll give you the time as soon as he crosses the stripe here. 21.52, not enough to improve him. He stays 11th out of 12. So Jamie's not going to be real happy with that run, but who knows? Maybe he can improve on it later. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying brought to you by the Ram 60-Day Handshake, a promise that's as strong and genuine as the trucks themselves. And the Principal Financial Group. It's true. It's time to rebuild your financial future. Let's update you. Tony Raines during the commercial break ran 21.63 seconds. Currently, that's good enough for number 12 on the chart. 13 drivers have taken times. Matthias Ekstrom is the slowest. Quickest right now, Juan Pablo Montoya at 21.184. Time now for Greg Biffle. Sat on pole back here in 06. Finished his best third back in 05.
First lap's only good for 8, though.
He's going to try to pick it up some here. You see, car might be a little bit on the free side. Doesn't have much steering input in it right there. And it's like he's just struggling to get through the center of the corner. Picks up 1/100th of a second.
So that leaves him 8th out of the 14 that have taken times here at Richmond.
It's definitely making Montoya's lap look a lot better.
Let's check in and see what Brad Keselowski thinks of his run with Vince Welch.
It was 37th in that final practice, currently 3rd on the board. What'd you think of your qualifying run?
It was faster than I thought it would be. The same thing on the Nationwide and the Cup side. Didn't feel all that great about either of my laps, but both seemed to be pretty good. So I've got something figured out at Penske Racing to get some speed there, and both crew chiefs Paul Wolf and Jay Guy got something going on there. So real proud of that effort, and you know, at the end you still got to race well. So felt like our Cup car had some pretty good speed and race trim. So looking forward to tomorrow, and hopefully getting that first top 10 of the year.
Marty?
Thank you, Vince. And right now you're looking at the guy that has scored more points in the last 15 races than anybody else. And if you're talking about momentum, DJ, you said do not overlook this car.
No, you can't. You know, as we look ahead to the chase, obviously Jimmy Johnson still has to be the favorite, but Tony Stewart, in talking to him today, he really feels good about what they have achieved with this race team, especially from the beginning of the year. They're on an upswing, and he really thinks they have a good chance once things get started next week at Loudon.
6th quickest in the final practice, and he's picking it up on lap 2, and here we go. It's getting close.
Well, he's picked up a lot, but he lost a little bit right there, but he is really faster on his second lap.
Yeah, he's going to improve from 14th up to 6th.
Picks up almost 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, and I think that tracker right there shows us just how good Montoya was getting back to the throttle and the speed that he carried off at turn 4.
And while he brings it on in, he's guaranteed of his spot in the chase. Let's talk to the guy who hopes to wrap it up tomorrow night. Jamie?
Well, everybody's been talking about Clint Bowyer, the bubble boy. He's 117 points ahead of 13th. So looks like you're locked in, but I know you guys are watching, seeing what's happening with the track right now. Clint, what were you able to do to your car to maybe make it better?
Well, I mean, relying on the guys. The car's really good, but the speeds are really fast, too. And anytime it picks up like that, you probably should free up just a little bit just to compensate for the speed. A lot of the guys that I thought were going to go fast ended up going slower because they were too tight. So just trying to learn a little bit. Go get them.
All right, and he did that by air pressure adjustment down here, Marty.
Thank you, Jamie. Looking at Denny Hamlin, he's the only repeat pole winner in the last 11 Richmond dates that have been run with time trials. Right now, he's tracking a little bit to the south side. .70 seconds. That's 15th out of 16 cars.
The one thing when the track picks up as much speed as we're seeing from practice to qualifying, it really puts a lot different loads in the suspensions, and you'll see a lot of cars maybe bottom out at this speed where they wouldn't have earlier today, and it might be catching them off guard there somewhat.
I think that's what makes this race so difficult, is all your practice is done during the day. Denny picks it up a lot, up to the 6th spot there with a 21.34 on his second lap.
So it was interesting what Clint Bowyer said, though, that felt like they could free up if the track is that much faster. That's a good observation on his part.
So now 16 total cars out of the 48 have taken official times, and Juan Pablo Montoya's 21.18 second blast is still holding up. But still a lot of good cars to come.
Yes, interesting as you look at it, Montoya picked up over 4/10 on his second lap, and the guys in second and third ran their fastest lap on their first lap. So we have a lot of different strategies going on here.
Well, before we get to Jeff Burton's official laps, let's talk Monster Saturday. ESPN delivers 2 top-notch college football games. 3:30 Eastern, Ja'Cory Harris, Miami against Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes. Intersectional matchup, BCS championship implications. And then it's Kirk and Brent, 7 Eastern for a big-time coaching matchup. Joe Paterno and the Nittany Lions. Tuscaloosa is the visiting stop for them. Nick Saban's #1 ranked Crimson Tide. College football on ESPN Saturdays available online on your phone. And the Miami-Ohio State game is going to be in 3D. It'd be kind of scary if 3 of us ever show up on 3D. I don't know.
Probably won't be many on-camera segments if that happens.
How about Jeff Burton? As his first lap was 21.4. Second one a little bit slower. He slotted in the number 11 spot.
Before qualifying started, I kind of picked Montoya for the pole, and Dale talked me out of it. Said the track was going to get a lot better.
Well, take a look. Let's go back, because while we were on the promo, you might have missed that.
Whoa. Wow. No wonder he slowed down that second lap.
And that's what it looks like from that side.
I remember back to Atlanta Sunday night, we saw him in a similar position just like that. He was able to gather it up down there and come back with a good finish.
Well, don't count him out. I mean, he has had some great runs here. 4 out of the last 5 in the top 11. Mark Martin now out on the track. His slim chase hopes still alive, but not in his control.
I think Mark and his team will now just be looking to see how they can improve in these last 11 races and get themselves back to victory lane. They had a lot of high hopes coming in and really hasn't materialized for them, and they want to find out why that is the case.
Mark, the 8th spot right now, 21.37 seconds. You know, this will be his 50th start at Richmond.
Yeah.
27 top 10
He was 10
starts.
whenever he started back in 1981, I think, or something like that.
He's the only driver in all 44 races in this configuration on the 3/4 mile track. And as he comes across, 21.38, it's off by 100th. He'll stay 8th. Back here at Richmond International Raceway, where Marcus Ambrose has just completed his run, and you see where he stacks up, currently 6th right now. His first lap was his best at 21.34 seconds. Coming up next will be a man who has 7 consecutive top 10 finishes here at Richmond. We're talking about driver the number 24, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, 11 front row starts in 35 races.
Yeah, his first start was 8th in the top 10 in 1993. That's the year I got my driver's license.
Again?
Yeah.
Back.
Back, yeah. Okay. Andy will be performing 2 times on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we've seen a lot of guys having trouble coming out of 3 and into 4.
Yeah, I think it's not as much they're having that much problem, but Montoya was just so good right there. Even though he locked up the brakes, I'm speaking of Montoya, getting into 3, he jumped back to the throttle and really was able to get off of turn 4. You'll see everybody that we've seen lose time to him in that area.
Yeah, on Montoya's lap, you saw that smoke coming out of the car going into 3, and I thought, well, he just blew that lap.
Yeah.
Put it on the pole with that lap.
Well, it's going to jump up on that second lap at 21.42 seconds. It puts Jeff 11th out of the 20 cars now that have taken official times. Engine fires for Martin Truex. Now, this has been a very hard day on his crew and very interesting for everybody. The throttle stuck on this thing, and watch what happens.
Yeah, right off the bat, man. He goes out there and has that happen. That can really kind of put a damper on your weekend. Have to get that backup car out, but they did a good job. They got it back out, got a lot of laps.
Now, they dropped the original engine in it, so that means he will not have to go to the rear of the field. Give us some more on it, Jamie.
Yes, and they were excused for a little while, Marty. They just pulled the car out right before he went out on track, and I asked him what they did, and he said, well, because we didn't have time to go through tech during practice, we had to go through our inspection this time around, get the sticker, and push it out here in time. So this team, yes, hats off to them. They were top 15 in that final practice, so they're moving in the right direction, Marty.
Started on the outside of the front row of this race last year. His best finish was back in 08 when he came across the stripe in 5th.
Now, watching this lap, it looks like his front end is very positive when he turns the wheel, almost like it's a little kind of overpowering the rear wheels.
Brings it across the stripe, moves it up a little bit. 21.47 seconds will give him 16th out of the 21 here at Richmond. So it was our Dover pole winner, and of course Dover going to be coming up in about 2 weeks after we visit Loudon. See what happens at those 2 tracks. Obviously we'll be into the chase. We've talked about momentum being the key, and the other thing that we really need to emphasize tonight is for these guys Saturday, this is the only guy that's got anything to lose. You pointed it out earlier this week on our conference call, Andy.
Yeah, he is the only one that has anything to lose, but he still has a lot to gain. He wants to get he wants to get a win, a single win, to move him up in the standings when we reseed after this race. I've talked to the team a lot today, as a matter of fact, and they said, they're just racing on offense. They don't want to be looking in the mirror. That's how you get yourself in trouble when you start trying to defend. So they're just going to go out here and run hard, try to win this race, and if everything works out like it's supposed to, it won't be any problem making the chase.
The thing that I think everybody needs to understand at home is right now, if Clint ends up being in the 12th spot, the only way anybody changes in the reseeding is if somebody goes out and wins this race Saturday night. That's the only way it can change.
Yeah, that's why I say it's kind of a unique situation. You got all these drivers out there with nothing to lose, and this year we don't have the constraints on a lot of the drivers that you've seen in the past.
Again, right there through 3 and 4, but what a good run.
Oh, man, check that lap out right there.
Clint just sent a shockwave through everybody that's been looking up at that number 12 spot. So 21.24 seconds. A great lap for Clint Bowyer as he tries to seal the deal and become the final member of the chase. Let's talk about the calendar, because obviously we're going to have nationwide action coming up tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. And then our Sprint Cup action with series at Richmond tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern over on ABC. Countdown will kick it off starting at 7 Eastern time. And NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. That's tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. David Gillen has pulled his car out on the track while he's out getting ready. Let's check in with Vince.
Jeff Gordon's won here a couple of times, was second in May. How was your car here for this qualifying run?
We've struggled when we've gone into qualifying trim here today. Not exactly sure what we're missing there, but I thought it was a pretty good lap. And we're 14th or something right now. That or 13th or something. We know that. We're missing something, so we'll just get it ready to go race. We're excited about having military intelligence with the National Guard on board this weekend, especially for 9/11, and hopefully he can use some of that to our advantage to get up through the field tomorrow night.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon always good here, and his car, guys, is much better in race trim earlier this afternoon.
And as you finish up, Vince, David Gilliland finishes up. 21.59 seconds on that second lap, his best. That puts him 21st out of 23 that have taken time. And there you see Jeff talking it over with Clint Bowyer. Clint's got to be breathing a lot easier right now.
Yeah, and you talk about, the scenario. I mean, yeah, it looks rather simple as to what he has to do, but as a driver, there are so many things out there that are lurking that could happen and jerk that rug right out from under you. But he knows his job, and he'll go out and do it. He's going to have a good starting spot.
Yeah, Clint clinches with a 28th place finish or better, and it doesn't matter what anybody else does. And for, of course, Greg Biffle, all he has to do is finish 42nd or better. How about Jimmy Johnson right now? He's tracking pretty good, Andy.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good lap off turn 2 there. About a 10th and a half off right here.
Heard him talk earlier about this track being feast or famine for him. Right now, 6 quick on that first lap.
If he can pick up a 10th or so, they can move up. He's actually going the wrong way.
He started 3rd back in the spring race. Started 4th in this race last year, and right now, second lap, no help, as it will be the first lap that's really the quicker of the two. He'll stay in that number 6 spot, 21.31 seconds. Of course, for fans of Jimmy, his 3 wins here at Richmond have been during his last 7 stops to this track. All right, stay with us. We've still got a lot to go. Remember, 5 are going home. During the break, Kevin Conway took his run, 21.79 seconds, his best. That puts him currently 24th out of 25 cars that have taken times. On track now, our points leader in the Sprint Cup Series, Kevin Harvick. You know, we mentioned during Tony Stewart's run, he had scored the most points in the last 15 races. Kevin, the second most.
Well, we'll talk about him as our points leader through tomorrow night, and then at the end of that,
Man,
he will not be our points leader.
Yeah.
See him really, really working that steering wheel.
First lap was good for the 12th spot. It's almost on the same track.
Well, that time's going to be almost identical.
21.40 to a 21.39 for the first lap. So Kevin stays in that. And you heard him say it was loose.
And you have to be careful in thinking that because this track has gotten some more grip that you can free it up some. If you're already on the free side and hit that front end turning really positive, you can, Andy, make it a little too loose like that.
Yeah, and that's, you know, some things we see with this new car that doesn't always go the way the tradition goes. And when the track cools off, sometimes these cars actually do get looser.
Well, let's check in with Vince Welch. He's caught up to Clint Bowyer.
Yeah, Clint Bowyer, 12th in points coming into this race this weekend, and it's been a pretty smooth weekend for him so far. Jimmy Johnson coming over and exchanging some words. It's been a good weekend for you so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. You know, we come down here early, and it was part of that nationwide test yesterday. Had a lot of fun there. Car's good for tonight, and Cheerios, Hamburger Helper Chevrolet. Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking qualifying session. Everybody was picking up so much. The track was so much faster. Kind of forced Shane's hand into making an adjustment there, and he made a good air pressure adjustment. The car took off. So, you know, that's proud of him. He did a good job, and you know, I'm excited. I think we got a good shot at running up front and well tomorrow night, and aim to do that.
Yeah, well done. Clint Bowyer is currently second quickest. And by the way, guys, Clint made comment that going into turn 3, that sun's a little bit of a handful as it really shines in their eyes, and thought maybe he didn't get into 3 quite as well as he could have because of the sun that was shining in his eyes.
Well, I don't think the sun bothered David Ruderman. As you finish up, Vince, 21.25 seconds moves him to number 3.
Yeah, and Vince, I'll tell you, sometimes I know that is a factor, and sometimes, though, you go back and think as a driver, well, maybe that actually helped me. I couldn't see to get further down there, and I made a better corner than what I'd do if I could see where I wanted to go.
Next out is going to be A.J. Allmendinger, and he's run 7 prior Richmond races. His best start was 13th in his very first time out back in 07. His best finish was back here in the spring. Came across the stripe in 17th.
He's top 10 in practice.
Yeah, another one of those drivers that makes that wide arc like we were talking about Montoya down into turn 1. You can see it helped him getting off and down the back straightaway. Good lap going right here.
Wow, second quick, 21.24 seconds. Watch the tracker. Can he take the pole?
We talked about how strong these Fords have been now. A lot of horsepower Doug Yates and his team are putting under all of these Fords.
I've seen in the history, though, that this is a horsepower racetrack. You bring back a little more power, you always run quicker here.
Falls off by about a 10th, so he'll stay number 2. Bumps Bowyer down to 3rd, but Juan Pablo Montoya still ensconced in that number 1 position.
Good job, guys.
We'll get ready now for Carl Edwards with a new paint scheme on there. Kellogg's and Cheez-It on the number 99. And Carl was quickest in final practice, 21.55 seconds. If he picks up the average of what everybody else has picked up, you're looking at your pole sitter right here.
He was a man in practice. We'll see what he's got here.
Now, the question's going to be, was his car just that much better than everybody else when the track was a little hotter, a little slicker than whenever everybody else has found some grip? He's going to need close to 4/10 from what he ran in practice. Not going to get it this first lap.
Oh, but he's going to be...
He's close, though.
Close, 21.25 seconds.
He's got to pick up less than a 1/10 of a second to be on the pole, and he's tracking in the green.
All right, right here's where everybody else has been getting beat by Montoya. And he's got some speed.
Oh, it's going to be close.
It's going to be so close.
Yeah, he's got him.
He comes down, and is he going to do it?
He
yes.
does it.
21.13 seconds. Carl Edwards
Good work, man. 21:13 on the second lap. The first lap was a 21:25. Awesome. Awesome work, guys.
Now, you told me Montoya wasn't going to be able to get it because the track was going to
Well, it's because Carl's an in-race reporter tomorrow night, so I knew he was going to do good.
All right. Well, as he rolls in, rolling out is Kyle Busch. And if you really want to know what Kyle's like away from the track, we may have the answer for you. It's called Riding Shotgun. It's going to be on ESPN2. It's all next week. It starts with the premiere Monday at 8 Eastern. And this is literally going to be a daily trip through Kyle's life leading up to our first race on the Chase next week at Loudon. There are the air times. Monday at 8, Tuesday 5:30, Wednesday 5:30, Thursday at 6, Friday at 5:30 Eastern, all on ESPN2. Should be very interesting.
Oh, it'll be a great insight in what these drivers' lives are like, and I know I'll be watching.
Yeah, and they got a lot of media obligations leading up to Loudon next week. A lot of things they'll be doing, so it'll be very interesting to follow Kyle around and see how he's able to handle all that, balance it, and get himself ready to race too.
Well, one thing he didn't handle was the first lap. He's 28th right now, tracking better here on lap 2, but not anywhere near where he wants to be.
Certainly not where he wants to get this race started from, but he's going to have to pass a lot of cars.
Well, he was 36th in final practice, and he's 24th right now out of the 30 that have taken times. Well, let's talk to the man who's right now sitting in the number 3 spot. How about it, Vince?
Yeah, A.J. Allmendinger conferring with Carl Edwards. Carl, of course, ripped off that fast lap, and your lap was pretty good, too.
I thought it was really good until I saw his lap. Man, that's pretty fast. And then the sad thing is he gets out and he's like, man, that's easy. I'm like, man, go screw you. So, no, but I'm proud of everybody at the Insignia Best Buy Ford team. This isn't one of my better racetracks. We've qualified okay here, but we struggle in the race. So I felt like we had a good practice all day today. Everybody at Rich Petty Motorsports is working hard, and I feel like we're just using these last 10, 11 races to just try to get better for next year. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, well done. A.J. Allmendinger currently third on the speed chart. And we're going to walk right over here to Carl Edwards and visit with Carl. He's chatting with Bob Osborne real quick about his qualifying time and finishing up with a couple of items of feedback. And AJ was saying he thought he had a pretty good run, so you ripped yours off there. That was nice. You were quickest in the final practice. Did you jump like you thought you would?
I didn't think we'd be able to back that up, you know. I was watching the ESPN coverage, and I noticed how fast Juan was down here in 3 and 4, and I just didn't think we'd go that fast, so I'm really proud of my guys. I told Bob it was just like a Sunday drive, man. It was easy, you know. The car did all the work, and that's really cool. My guys have been working very hard, all the guys at the shop, and it's really cool for Aflac and Cheez-It and Kellogg's, everybody. I think that'll be top 3 or 4, and that's what we need. You know, we've been focusing a lot on qualifying. It's cool to have a good lap like that.
Yeah, Carl rewards his guys with a good run here this afternoon.
Well,
Marty?
Paul Menard rewarded his guys with a great run. His best qualifying effort ever here at Richmond. His best prior was 25th. Right now he's sitting 7th. So tip of the hat to Paul Menard and his team. Now let's watch Elliott Sadler now as Elliott's out on track.
Elliott is from the state of Virginia, but he'll be the first to tell you that this hasn't been his favorite racetrack over the years as far as results. He enjoys racing here, just hasn't been one of the places that he's been able to have a lot of success at yet.
I do remember a nationwide race that he was leading coming off turn 2 and got together with Carl Edwards.
Oh, it was
exciting. For the win.
Yeah. Well, in his best race in the last 10 here at Richmond, his finish was 13th. It's been 12 races ago since he had a top 10, and that was 7th. And right now, as he comes across the stripe, he's going to move into the number 28 spot, 21.55 seconds. 2 more cars turned in times during the commercial break. Regan Smith, 21.35 seconds is best. That moves him into the number 15 spot. He was followed by David Reagan, his best, a 10th slower, 21.45, and that puts him currently 23rd. 34 cars have taken official times. On track right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, Junior has 3 wins here in the past, but past 8 or 9 races haven't been the best for him. He has a 4th place finish in those, but that's about it.
You're right. His last win came here in the spring of '06. Since then, it was Well, 4 straight, 13th or worse. Then that 4th place finish you talked about in 08, and then 27th, 21st, and 32nd here back in the spring.
Well, his first lap wasn't great. It's 29th, but look at this one. Tracking in the top 10.
See if he can keep it up through 3 and 4. That's been the trouble spot for most everybody.
Be a good run.
This is going to be a good one. He's going to jump quite a bit up into the top 10.
Nice lap there.
Good second lap, Dale. 21.51 first lap, 21.29 second. That's 9th quick.
I love it when those.
It's in 4. I underdrove it in turn 1 every lap. Sorry about that.
Underdrove it.
That's not necessarily a bad thing here.
Yeah, and down there you see the sun's still shining down in 1, so you're not exactly sure how much of that grip is down there. You know that you're in the shade in 3 and 4 and that it's changed a lot there, but yeah, that's, as you said, Andy, that's probably a better scenario than if you go in there and overdrive.
Yeah, because in that way you can really get off the corner good and with a lot of speed, so good qualifying run.
So here we go with Todd Bodine. As Todd is the first of the go or go home group. He was 9th quickest out of that go or go home group. And remember, we have a total of 5 cars that are going to be on the hauler by the close of business here in about the next half hour. Bodine's first lap, 21.85.
It's hard to get a good idea of exactly what kind of time you would feel comfortable with, even though that's the slowest lap that's been run so far today, but you just don't know what these other go or go home cars have for speed until you see a few of them run.
About 3/10 quicker than he ran in practice. He picks it up to a 72, so that's about 4/10 quicker than he ran, and what we've seen in a pickup is somewhere between that 3 and 4/10 most of the time.
Well, one guy we're glad to see back at the racetrack. Let's check in with Jamie.
Very good to see Terry Labonte here. Different capacity kind of this time around. It's been since Homestead last year since we've seen you, but you're actually a co-owner and driver, and you got to qualify your way in. What's it like being back at Richmond this way?
A little nerve-wracking right now.
I imagine. Have you ever felt this way at Richmond?
No.
First time for everything. 3-time winner, and you still get nervous.
Oh, yeah. I think I've been more nervous this weekend than ever before. So we got a pretty good car. It just took me a little bit longer to get up to speed than I thought. And these cars are a little different, you know, on the short tracks that I was used to running. And the tracks really hadn't changed much. But we're gaining on it. But, you know, let's see what happens.
All right, good to see you back in the field. Terry Labonte looking to make another start here. He's been here quite a few times, Marty.
Well, and as we watch Dave Blaney, I got to ask you, GJ, because you're talking about a 2-time Cup champion and still feeling nerves.
I promise you that the last year or so of my career in those same type scenarios as we watching Dave Blaney with a good run right here. Tracking up inside the top 15 right now. But, yeah, it's very nerve-wracking. As Terry said, you can see sideways right there coming out of 4.
Yeah, and it cost him quite a bit. He is 21.45 and that second lap, 25th right now, but that's the best of the 2 go-or-go-homers. All right, let's talk football now. We've got 2 top-notch college football games. We've got Miami against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Intersectional matchup, could have BCS championship implications. And then Kirk Herbstreit, Brent Musburger, 7 Eastern for big-time coaching matchup. Joe Paterno and the Lions against Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. College football on ESPN Saturday is also available online on your phone, and the Miami-Ohio State game is available in 3D.
This was the quickest of the go-or-go-home cars in practice, Casey Mears.
And he was 17th quickest overall. So you would think it should not be too difficult for him to be amongst the group that will stick around for tomorrow night.
I see a little wiggle there into 3.
Still got to go out there and do it.
That's right. That's why we run them. Here we go. Cross the line. 21.58 seconds.
You would like to think that wiggle was probably air pressure. Should be built up now to the point that he's liking his car a lot better.
I want you to look at this right here, though. Look at this lap. It's within a 10th of the pole sitter going into 3.
Yeah, still losing a little bit of time right there on the exit of 4, but still going to be a solid lap.
It's going to jump him up to the 17th spot, makes him the fastest of the 3 go-homers so far. So Casey's looking pretty good. All right, during the break, 2 more cars took time. Scott Riggs at 21.76 seconds, Michael McDowell at 21.71 seconds, and those are the 3 of the slowest times we've recorded so far in the Go or Go Home group. And Travis Quapple is on the course right now, finishing up. He's run lap number 1, 21.89 seconds. He really needs to pick this up. Travis comes across the stripe, and he does. He gets up to 21.57 seconds. That puts him, well, 4th of the group. 3rd fastest of the Go or Go Homers. Let's check in quickly with Vince.
Standing by with Dale Earnhardt Jr., just finishing up with a couple of radio interviews. Has been gracious enough to stand and be patient with us as we've waited. Nice qualifying run, especially that second lap. You picked up about 3/10. Was that a real good second lap, or not quite as good as you'd liked in the first lap?
Well, the car was really good. I didn't drive it hard enough in turn 1 and 2 on either lap, really. Really upset with myself because the car was pretty good. We felt like we had a good car in practice, and we didn't get a good clean lap in. We got a guy got in our way there, but we felt like we could run good, and I think we got some speed. We tested a lot, worked really hard to try to come here and run good, and we qualified really bad the last several trips here, and that was okay. The car had a whole lot more though, so that's a little disappointing. But I want to thank my sponsors, Amp Energy and NASCAR and Mountain Dew and all them guys. But we're trying to work on it, man. We're working really hard. We're working all week long trying to get this thing going and run better, and hopefully we'll see what happens this weekend.
Still top 10, Marty.
Yeah, Jason Leffler, who did not qualify last week at Atlanta, right now gets the car across the line 1.54 seconds. That makes him 3rd quickest of the Go or Go Homers. Casey Mears has been locked in. Dave Blaney has been locked in. But we'll have to wait and see, as we now have 42 cars that have taken time.
That should do it right there for Leffler. That was a good lap, and he's got 4 of the Go or Go Home cars behind him, so he's got to feel pretty good about that. I think he'll make it.
Yeah, he'll just have to beat one of the remaining ones, and chances are pretty good that he's going to do that with that time.
And as we get ready for Bobby Labonte, you guys were talking about during the break that Bobby could help brother Terry quite a bit.
Yeah, Terry Labonte's down there pulling for Bobby right now to run a really good lap.
Yeah, this is Bobby would have the first champion provisional, but if he can drive his way in, then that means Terry would get locked into the show by his championship.
Here comes Terry compared to Leffler right now, and Labonte 21.63 seconds.
He needs a little bit more speed if he's going to help his brother.
Yeah, it looked a little bit slow there off of turn 2. Although he's carried some speed there, it looked a little slower than what he was. You can see it down the back straight. We got out of it a little early. See if he can get back to the throttle and pick it up.
Whoa, so close to the wall, and he comes across the stripe, 21.61 seconds. And we'll just have to wait and see, because he is, well, right now, 5th quickest of the Go or Go Homers of the 8 that have taken times. Let's talk about the calendar, because we've got a lot of action still to come tonight. NASCAR Nationwide Series action with our race at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. And then Sprint Cup action, our race from Richmond tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. We'll kick it off at 7 Eastern with Countdown. And then NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. And that's the drifting demonstration.
They need to tighten those cars up, man. That's loose.
No, actually, that looks like
that one's
Atlanta.
pitting. That one's pitting. He's making a chassis adjustment.
That looks like Atlanta last week, guys. That's what that looks like. All right, let's go out on track, because Front Row Joe is just going to try and make the show. Coming around 4, comes across the stripe. First lap's going to put him in at 21.75 seconds. What it has done, it has booted Scott Riggs. So Riggs is already out of here.
Yeah, but that time right there puts Joe on the bubble. He wants to pick it up right here. Looks like he's got a better lap.
Yeah, he was needing about 2/10 to feel really good about his chances.
Oh, this is looking better.
So do it.
Comes across the stripe. Boy, he really jumps it up. He locks himself in. 21.47 seconds. Riggs has been put on the hauler. And we still got a total of 4 more cars to go. Terry Labonte will be next out.
And he's certainly been made aware of exactly what he needs to do after Bobby didn't run any faster. His brother, Bobby Labonte, wasn't able to run any quicker. Terry knows that his best chance is to go out here and try to get it done. He's going to have to pick up quite a bit from what he had in practice, though.
He's been on pole twice in 54 prior races here. That's right, 54 of them. He won 3 of them. And you heard him talking to Jamie about how nervous he is, and right now
pretty smooth lap. I mean, he's got a shot at getting in here on this first lap. If he can hit these 2 corners right here, looks like he might have to do another lap.
It's going to be close. 21.607. He needs to go a little bit quicker if he wants to definitely lock himself in.
He really drove hard in turns 1 and 2 here.
Yeah, and didn't really pay a price. You can see he's still in the green right now. Needs to get back to the throttle.
So it's not going to quite
be
there.
Close. He comes across the stripe. 21.605. 2 100ths difference between, actually 2 1,000ths between the 2 laps. What it does guarantee is Todd Bodine.
Gonna be real close right there.
Todd Bodine has joined Scott Riggs in the list of DNQs. Michael McDowell is sitting in a very precarious situation right now. Terry went a little bit quicker than brother Bobby.
Just barely. Yeah, about a 5 1,000ths of a second.
So what it means now is we get ready for Jeff Green. And Jeff's already on it.
You can see he's got a pretty decent lap going already, headed down the back straightaway.
Still in the green. This would be bad news for McDowell. And he comes across the stripe, 21.49 seconds. So McDowell is now been sent home. And
We're in the show, nice and smooth.
2 more cars still to go. So Jeff on the second lap as the 2000 Nationwide Series champion runs a 21:35, puts him in the number 16 spot. And as we mentioned, 3 cars are now out of here. McDowell, Bodine, and Scott Riggs. And next up will be Brian Keselowski. Brian attempting to make his first ever Cup start. He did not qualify when he attempted back at Bristol in his only other attempt. He's run 3 nationwide races here at Richmond. Right now, heading south.
Yeah, you can see really fighting the steering wheel down in 1 and 2. He was the slowest car in practice.
Really going south.
This is good news for Terry Labonte if he wants a shot to get in here. He's still going to have to outrun.
In fact, it's
Bliss.
It's so south. He's the only car of 47 to be in the 22-second range. He needs a miracle right now.
This just shows how difficult it is to come in. You see the car wash up the track, but how difficult it is to come in here against these guys that do this on a weekly basis and try to drive your way in. He does get down in the 21-second bracket at 21.96, but that's not going to get him in the race.
No. So he joins McDowell, Bodine, and Riggs, and that means 1 car remaining, and that is Mike Bliss. No. So he rolls off as our last car. He has finished 4th here in the September 04 Richmond race. That was his best of his 107 race career. That was in the Gibbs number 80. He's had 2 top 10 finishes here in 2010. 9th back at the July Daytona event when he was in the number 71, and 10th at Talladega when he was driving the 09.
Well, he has to run better than a 21.605 to beat Terry Labonte.
And this is going to be close.
Tracking him directly against Terry Labonte.
Oh,
he got off the corner really
right
good.
There.
That's bad
Sideways.
news.
That's another lap. Paid the price, and that could hurt him on his second lap some here too, right where that speed loss was.
He needs to pick up just a few tenths of a second, 2 to be exact.
Boy, look how close this is going to be. Well, you know, Terry Labonte's crew chief told him it's going to be close. Boy, he wasn't kidding.
There he's into the green now. Can he keep it under control?
Yeah, looks like he's going
He's looking better here.
Barely going to get it.
And he does. Bliss makes it in 21.56 seconds. So unfortunately, Texas Terry Labonte is not going to make the race. Back here at Richmond International Raceway, where for the first time in his Cup career, Carl Edwards has a pole here at Richmond in his 13th start. It's his 6th Cup career pole. And of 219 starts, 7 different pole winner in the last 7 Richmond races that we've had time trials. Take a look at the grid, guys. Who stands out?
Some new faces up front. Got A.J. Allmendinger up there. And got Brad Keselowski, Paul Menard starting up front.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. up in the top 10. Of course, Casey Kane, who's won here, starts in that 10th spot.
And as we move a little bit further back, there is the 4-time champion, Jimmy Johnson.
We see Denny Hamlin going to start 14th. I would look for him to be up front for this night's over tomorrow night.
And Mark Martin, of course, hanging on by a thread and not going to be starting where he really needs to be. And there we go with Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon further back.
Yeah, Gordon had a great race in the spring here and felt like he had a good car and race trim, but didn't qualify where he wanted.
Yeah, you see Jeff Burton there starting way back, but he's always been good here.
Another guy who did not qualify anywhere close to where he wanted to be was Kyle Busch.
See Elliott Sadler back in the 36th spot. Virginia native. He hopes to improve on that spot tomorrow night.
And rounding out the field, Kevin Conway, Matthias Ekstrom in his first oval start, and Bobby Labonte will round out the 43-car field. All right, what's going to be coming up next, obviously, is our nationwide race, and it's going to be with NASCAR Countdown as the crew is all back in position after a long day that started for our camera crew as early as like 7 this morning. Quick comments, guys, as we get ready for tonight's nationwide race?
It's going to be an exciting race to watch these new cars run on the short track for the first time. See who's got things figured out a little more. There's our in-race reporter, Stephen Wallace. We'll talk to him here shortly.
Clint Bowyer, he's got a strong car for tonight's race.
14 guys doing double duty. So the field's set. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Race Series, 7:30 Eastern on ABC tomorrow. Right now, it's time for the Nationwide boys to go racing. And for that, we're going to send it over to Alan Beswick and the guys over in the pit studio on the infield. There's the view from high above Richmond International. Take it away, Alan.